Hi, my name is Shakeyla, and this is Fashion History News. Fashion in the 21st century is very different from the 30s, 50s, and 70s. Let's take a look back at my great-great-grandmother's year. North America fashion trend from 1930s to the end of World War II was the tension of the shoulder with butterfly sleeves and banjo sleeves and shoulder pads for both men and women. By the 1930s, there were man-made fibers, especially rayons for dresses and vicoes for lining and lingerie, and synthetic nylon stockings. Zipper became widely used. These styles were not only in the U.S., but in Britain and England. Zipper were used for everything close up to tobacco, boots, or galoshes. In 1930, a sale campaign began for children, clothing featuring zippers. The campaign praised Zipper, promoting self-reliance in young children by making it possible for them to dress in self-help clothing. People clothes were made out of synthetic fiber because it was very comfortable. If women wore a dress, she had another gown underneath cloth synthetic, which was thin and see-through. There was a big Great Depression where people had to borrow hand-me-downs and clothes that they found on the street. By the 1930s, women and men clothing are different from today. Women and men were popular for both day and evening wear. In 1937, the DuPont Company in the USA was able to make nylon stockings for the first time, although they were not available in stores to the general public. Pop quiz. What year did people started to be inspired by glam rock fashion? A, 1956, B, 1945, C, 1974. By the 70s, women had the right to wear miniskirts, open shirts, low V-neck shirts, high tight pants, what was in style for flare trousers, bell bottoms, and trouser shirts. The fashion in 1970 was a time when fashion was evolving in many ways. Women at that time had more freedom of wearing that they wanted when they wanted to. Fashion was spreading all over the world and also culturizing, spreading, and bringing in more fashion styles to the U.S. The year went by. In the 70s, people clothes were made out of heavy crepe, wool jersey knits, cord-tail jerseys, and woven polyester like Trevera. The fashion's favorite color of the 1970s, emerald green, apple green, and bottle green. People were not judged at the time in the 70s. There were lots of hippies and wars of recycling. People were inspired by glam rock in the 1974s. Rock stars such as David Bowie, Roxy Music, and Mark Bolan. Pop quiz. If you wore a cashmere sweater and khaki pants, what were you being called? A, a jockey, B, dude, C, square. (1950s) Teen wore pleated skirts, bobby socks, and tennis shoes, pencil skirts, cashmere sweaters, corduroy jackets, and Levi's rolled up, bomber jackets, circle skirts, and sleeveless jumpers, and khakis, flats, and saddled sandals. Teens dressed the way disguising a parent's generation dress. Wearing a poodle skirt, you had to wear these socks to ankles, and they were folded only once. Having a pair of black and white saddle bucks, preferably Spalding brand, as they have to be worn with body socks. Young teens were not allowed to wear what their parents didn't wear. Women wore poodle skirts to dance and move around a lot better at a party. Young men, teens, wore whatever they wanted to, leather zipper jackets and pants with big cuffs. If you wore cashmere sweaters and khaki pants, you were called a square. Clothes started to change because people were starting to pay attention to more fashion in the 1950s. There were no more wars and the economy was going good. There were new technologies coming like television. The economy was very strong. GNP went from $284.6 billion to $482.7 billion. By the end of the 50s, in 1954, there were 154 millionaires in the U.S. So there were styles like Dior and Chanel, and a European fashion is Coco Chanel. People saw clothes as a dominance. Last pop quiz. What year did I just tell you about fashion? A, the 30s, 50s, and 70s. B, the 40s, 60s, and 80s. C, the 20s, the 50s, and 70s. Back to number 1 pop quiz. What year did people started to be inspired by glam rock? Pop quiz 2. If you wore a cashmere sweater and khaki pants, what were you being called? Pop quiz 3. What year did I just tell you about fashion? Number 1 is C. Number 2 is C. Number 3 is A. Thanks, I have to go now, but study these years and answers I gave you. My name is Shakeyla, and this is Fashion History News.